Yo, what's going on? Chavo Guerrero Jr. here, giving a big shout out to Wrestling Rehab. Keep watching, keep listening, and viva la raza.
Órale. All right. Gotta handle this a little bit differently because my mouse is actually not working. So it's all touchscreen here for me. But all right. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into what happened on Monday Night Raw, which was a good Raw for me, by the way. Um, the obviously the big story is what happened with AJ Styles, and we'll get to that in a second. I don't want to recap the entire show. I just want to talk about a few things that stuck out to me for a little bit. All right. Um, One thing is that main event Jay Uso is qualified to go to the Elimination Chamber. Now, that wasn't the original plan, but boy, that was the audible that they had to call because Bronson Reed is injured yet again. Bronson Reed just came off of an injury. And when I say just came off, it's not like he just came off like last week, but it hasn't been that long. It hasn't been that long that Bronson Reed was out on an injury. And what strikes me now is this faction, the Vision. First of all, in my opinion, the Vision hasn't been the same since Seth Rollins left. It took a little bit of a hit, but it was still working. It was still somewhat working, at least for me. With Braun Breaker, I'm like, okay, this is the time for Braun Breaker to start moving forward, right? He's no longer under Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins was the guy when it came to the Vision. And it just didn't work with me. Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman both being on the same team. It's like Seth doesn't need a mouthpiece. He has a good mouthpiece of his own. So he doesn't need everybody talking for him. So I thought it was a decent move. I'm not going to say a good move, but it was a decent move to have the Vision turn on him, especially a Braun Breaker. And with the way they did it, right? Where it was Braun Breaker acting on his own, convincing everybody else, hey, you're either with me or against me, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. But Braun Breaker, he's gone, at least for a while, and he's been gone. So I'm like, wow, okay. Bronson Reed came back from an injury, and now Bronson Reed is gone. So now you're stuck with what? You're stuck with Paul Heyman, Austin Theory, and Logan Paul, which again, I've said this before, I'll say it again. In my opinion, I think Logan Paul is actually getting buried being part of the Vision. I think he was a big star when he was just on his own. But ever since you teamed him up with the Vision, he's kind of falling back a little bit. Now that's probably done on purpose because you don't really have any real big plans for Logan Paul. So it's just, hey, just have him hang out with the Vision at least for a while. We don't really have any plans with them, and he could just be one of the goons, right? He could just be one of the goons for the Vision, right? We don't have any real matchup plans for him. We don't have any plans for him to be in any program or any beefs or any storylines or anything of that sort. So as long as, but he is somewhat of a star. He does bring in a certain fan base. So as long as we have him on TV, We got to have him do something. So we'll just have him in this faction. And at least for the foreseeable future, we'll just have him be one of the goons, just helping some of the guys from the Vision out. Because that's all he's really been. And Austin Theory, this is, they're supposed to be, the Austin Theory 2.0 version. This is supposed to be, okay, you know what? We're going to give this guy another shot, another way to give him a big push. Let's see if this works. And it's, hasn't been really getting too much traction. At least I don't think it has. But with Braun Breaker, with him down, and now Bronson Reed down, I mean, good gosh, man, what do you do with this faction? Can you make Austin Theory and Logan Paul an actual tag team and have Paul Heyman as their manager? Their Oracle? Can you do that? That probably wouldn't be so bad. And instead of being a faction, they're just called the Vision as a tag team, at least till somebody comes back. But honestly, I kind of just want Braun Breaker to kind of go off on his own because this faction is done, man. Bronson Reed is down. I don't know how long Bronson Reed is going to be gone for, but that this faction, I mean, that's it. And I think Logan Paul can shine so much more not being a part of this faction. If they want to make him a tag team with Austin Theory, so be it. That wouldn't be the worst. Wouldn't be the best, but it wouldn't be the worst. You had that segment which people were calling just a wasted segment. I don't think it was. I don't think it was a wasted segment. But so many people are saying, oh gosh, what was the point of that segment? And that is, of course, the return of Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar comes out with the advocate. Yes, Paul Heyman, as he said, he's the wise man. He is the oracle. He is the advocate, right? It just depends whose side he's standing on, who's beside him. But he comes out with Brock Lesnar. And a lot of people are complaining about this segment. I have no issue with it. I wasn't really expecting too much. But they get in the ring and basically they start talking about WrestleMania. And I'll get to WrestleMania in a second. They start talking about WrestleMania. And I started talking about like, hey, listen, basically, we don't know what Brock Lesnar's going to do at WrestleMania. I mean, that's basically what they're saying. What Paul Heyman was saying, that we don't know. We got no plan. But if anybody back there wants a shot at the Beast Incarnate, let it be known. And you can go ahead and have a match with Suplex City Brock Lesnar. And that's basically what that segment really was. I mean, it took up a little bit of time for them just to come out and say something like that, but I didn't have an issue with it. I thought it was fine. It was fine for me. Now, did I think somebody's music was going to play and somebody was going to come out? For a moment there, I was thinking, yeah, for a second. But I also thought, well, probably not. And maybe, just maybe, it has something to do with the crate, which, of course, the crate, I just can't help think of the egg for the Survivor Series all those years ago when the Goblin Goober came out. Now, that would be great. That would be great. See, at that time, the Goblin Goober didn't work because people were expecting so much more, right? But if the crate opens up and the Goblin Goober comes out, good God, that would be the best. That would be the best. Maybe not for people, maybe not for younger heads that wouldn't understand it, or that were just told or that watched it, like on the WWE network back when that was around, or you saw it somewhere in the archives, right? But you didn't live through it. For those that are a little bit older and actually lived through it, gosh, they would appreciate that so much. If they take that crate, put it in the center of the ring, and that crate just opens up, and out comes the Goblin Goober. Oh man, that that will make full circle right there. However, it's not gonna be the Goblin Goober because it wouldn't make sense. The only way it would make sense to do that if it were at Survivor Series. But I did think for a second, well, we don't know what's in that crate. Brock Lesnar's in the ring. Who can it be? Some people are saying it's Chris Jericho. I'm like, Chris Jericho against Brock Lesnar? Yeah, that's probably not going to happen. So as they're cutting the promo, as Paul Heyman is basically out there telling everybody, we don't know what the heck Brock Lesnar's going to do at WrestleMania, but let's try to get a match for him if anybody's got the balls to do it. A couple of names came to mind. Of course, some people were thinking about Oba Femi. Like, okay, that's cool. Some people were saying LA Knight, and I'm thinking to myself, please no. Please no. Now, I can see them doing that. Why can I see them doing that? I can see them doing that because they really had the storyline set up there because LA Knight eliminated Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. The only thing is that they fumbled the ball. They went ahead, they botched that with the camera work when it was it Jey Uso coming in at that time that completely buried the elimination of Brock Lesnar at the Rumble. I didn't even know he had gotten eliminated. I was just looking at it like, where's Brock Lesnar? Then I heard later on that he got eliminated. I'm like, wow, I didn't even know who eliminated him. So I hope it's not LA Knight. Why do I? Because honestly, and this is just me personally, I want LA Knight to win the Elimination Chamber. And I want LA Knight to go on to WrestleMania. And I want LA Knight to become champion. Yeah. Even if he doesn't have a long run, even if he just holds it till SummerSlam, fine, so be it. LA Knight's up there in age. I want him to hold the strap. He's earned his dues. Do I think he's going to win the chamber? Well, we'll get to that on the pre-show when we do that for the chamber, which we'll go ahead. We'll do that on Saturday. So who should face Brock Lesnar? Since they cut that, since they had that spot there in the ring with Paul Heyman. Look, there was talks about maybe Gunther. I mean, that was always in the talks, right? I don't see how they can make that match happen between now and then. I mean, Gunther started on Monday Night Raw talking smack about AJ Styles. And I was just like, I hope he doesn't come back later when Styles is giving a speech, unless Styles is truly not retired. But look, you definitely have to have Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. You got to have him in a match. I don't know what they're going to do with him. There's a couple of names where I'm like, okay, that sounds okay. Obafemi sounds fine. Gunther would, I mean, honestly, that's WrestleMania material right there. Gunther and Brock Lesnar. The thing is, how do you start this program with these two characters? You got to start it at some point, maybe at the chamber. I don't know why either one of them would be at the chamber, but you got to do it at some point to build this up. So a lot of people complained about that. I don't have an issue with it. I was fine with it. It's cool. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do with Brock Lesnar at Mania. And that's fine. I didn't really look into and I didn't really hear much about what happened with Natalia. I mean, she changed her name to Natty. I mean, everybody everyone's been calling her Natty for years, but she always came out as Natalia. But every time you heard anybody talk about her, they always called her Natty. With her match against what's her name? Maxine Dupree. Where she threw her to the they were out the ring and she Natty threw her to the post, and that was the end of the match. That was the end of the match. And I never really looked more into it, and I should have. But I just remembered about that just right now. But I'm like, wow, I should look into that. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's get into the phenomenal AJ Styles. Well, before I get to that, I want to rewind a little bit because I talked a little bit about it, and that was the crate, right? And what's going to be in the crate. Like I said, a lot of people said Chris Jericho. I'll be real with you guys, man. Me myself personally, I don't even really want to see Chris Jericho anymore. The dude is old. He's well past his prime. I mean, if he comes back and has a match or two, just so he can, retire with the WWE, that's cool. So be it. That's fine. I'm not against it. But I mean, I don't really want the guy to come back and have some sort of big, serious run. What else can it be? Heck if I know. I'll be real with you guys. I'm not even really that invested into that story. And when it comes to the road to WrestleMania, which we're in right now, I've been saying this is a very, very weak road to WrestleMania. There is not a lot of excitement. There isn't. I find myself trying to get excited for WrestleMania season. I am trying to pump myself up being on the road to WrestleMania. I am trying to envision myself having like a WrestleMania party and being super excited. I'm trying, but damn it, I'm falling short every time. So the whole crate story, it's just really not working for me. But uh, to a certain degree, I will be a little interested to see what it is. Like I said, ever since the Goblin Goober, oh man, they knocked it out the park if they do that. All right, so CM Punk comes out and basically just cuts a promo, just runs his mouth, talks about the tribal chief and how the tribal chief, yeah, how he's a part timer, and that's cool. That's fine. Now Roman wasn't there, and clearly CM Punk points that out, just like anybody else who's in a program with Roman Reigns points that out. Oh, he's not here tonight. Yeah, along with so many other nights. I'm not against them pointing that out, but it just seems like anybody and everybody who's in a program with Roman Reigns needs to point that out, which is fine. Which is fine. I'm just saying you're doing what everybody else does. But Roman Reigns should be on Raw next week, which is a good thing because you got to start pumping this a little bit more. Now, this match kind of sells itself to a certain degree. It does sell itself, but you still got to have these guys in one way or another interact with each other. Now, I don't think they should. I honestly, I don't think they should put hands on each other. I don't. There shouldn't be a single punch thrown from either one of these guys. There's certain matches where you do not have them touch each other at all. No contact. They don't push each other, nothing. They can be in front of each other, they can have mean stare downs, but don't have these guys get physical with one another until WrestleMania, until the bell rings. So you got to start having these guys interact with each other to build this match, to remind people of this match, to say, hey, that's right, we're on the road to WrestleMania. Remember, we got CM Punk. Where's the tribal chief? Let's go. Two fan favorites. Which one are you leaning for? And before I get to AJ Styles, just want to point out the obvious, which is what I said when it came to Liv Morgan, who she was going to choose. It was completely obvious. There was really no fan reaction. I had said it. I said it. I said, listen, if you wanna if you wanna blow the minds of everybody, have her choose Jade Cargill. Because it is just too damn obvious that she's gonna choose La Primera. And she did. And because she chose her with a cheap shot with the mic in her hand, I mean, I guess that kind of looked cool, but still, with that, it was just like, wow, this was extremely predictable. I don't know anybody that thought she was going to choose Jade Cargill, but if she chose Jade Cargill, that would have been mind blowing. That would have been like, whoa, that would have taken over. Like, wow, okay. It would have gotten everybody talking. It would have gotten everybody like, wait, how are they going to make this match happen? You're going to have a lot of people that are pissed. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to be happy about it. You're going to have a lot of back and forth. You're going to have a lot of people just, you know, talking about having conversations of, hey, they got to go down this route, or they got to do this, or you know what, this match is never going to work. Actually, this match is going to work if they do it this way. It'll work. If they, it doesn't matter how they do it, it's not going to work. It would get the WWE universe talking about it, but you made it super duper obvious who she's going to choose, and you went down that route, and nobody cares, and nobody's talking about it because everybody already knew. So she should have chosen Jade Cargill. Now, it'd be a little bit more difficult to kind of set up that match, both of them being heels. But that's the road to WrestleMania. That's how you get people talking. That's how you start setting it up. This Stephanie McCurr versus Liv Morgan, there's just not a lot of excitement there. It was so predictable, and there's just nobody's talking about it. Has she chosen Cargill? Like I said, it would have been mind blowing, and everybody would have been talking about it. And it just, they dropped the ball on this one. They dropped the ball, and maybe Jade versus Liv Morgan wouldn't be as good of a match, but it would be a bigger match. In-ring performance, La Primera versus Liv is a better match, but a bigger match is Jade versus Liv, because nobody knows how the heck that's going to go. And just it'd be so interesting to see how you guys can build this up, how you guys can make this work. I got to tune in. I got to see how this is going to go. Are people going to react to, hey, it's little Liv Morgan versus big Jade Cargill? Are they going to go down that route? Are they going to cheer for Liv Morgan? Are they going to cheer for Jade Cargill? What's Dirty Dom going to do? But you guys went down the most predictable way, and now nobody cares. And Liv Morgan was pushing to get the main event at WrestleMania. With this matchup, I mean, nah. Which is, again, it'll be a pretty good matchup. In-ring performance, that is. But with all that, let's go ahead and get to the phenomenal AJ Styles, who calls it a career in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, he's not from Atlanta, but he is from Georgia. And I just got to tell you guys this, man. That crowd was weak. That crowd was very weak. He comes out, and I'm like, I'm expecting a much bigger pop for him. You know, especially with this song, you know, with them Southern boys, right? And I'm not getting the reaction from the fans to get me excited. He comes in, grabs the mic, and he, you know, runs down his career. Talks about his time in TNA. Talks about his time in New Japan. And he makes the full circle that, you know, he got to the WWE at the Royal Rumble in 2016. 10 years later, at the Royal Rumble is his last match. Personally, I don't like the fact that his final match was in Saudi Arabia, but oh well. And AJ Styles, man, I'll tell you guys, just one of the great ones. One of, if not the greatest in-ring performer to ever lace up the boots. Anywhere and everywhere this guy went around the world, he won the championship. No matter what promotion he went to, at some point he became the main champion of that promotion. Yeah, he's not a super duper hardcore WWE guy. He had his career globally, just in wrestling, right? Like John Cena, he's a WWE guy, where AJ Styles, he's just a wrestling guy. He was in main promotions all over the world. And every promotion recognized him as the best at some point. And it was good to see him explain after he lost to Gunther in Saudi Arabia, when it looked like he was going to take off his gloves. He decided not to. He explained why. He said, no, because I was going to come back here to Georgia, which again, the Georgia crowd didn't really wow me. They didn't. This is your guy, man. This is your guy. And he's pouring his heart out to you guys. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it was, but it didn't really seem like the crowd was that engaged with AJ Styles, let alone the whole night. But I mean, I was thinking that, hey, man, they're just waiting for Styles, man, to just erupt, to blow the roof off the place. And it never happened. But he explained that that's where he wanted to take off the gloves. He took off his vest, put the gloves on the ground. His wife was there. His kids were there. And then, of course, out comes the locker room onto the stage. And then here comes The Undertaker, where it's like, wow. Now, when I first heard the gong of The Undertaker, I was thinking, because the lights went out, first thing that came to my mind is when the lights come back on, Undertaker is going to be in the ring, standing behind him, and he's going to shake his hand in like a respect, just to respect him. Like, hey, it was an honor. It was an honor to have you here. But then he goes down there in the motorcycle, right? The American badass Undertaker gets in the ring, has a mic, and I'm like, okay. And as soon as Undertaker opened his mouth, I said, I know what's happening now. Now I know what's happening. Some of you guys probably knew right from the jump. I didn't. But as soon as Undertaker started talking, I'm like, aha. Because I remember what we did with Stephanie McMahon. And yes, of course, Undertaker breaks the news to AJ Styles that he is being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. This year, by the way. This year. And now it's come out, I believe that it's John Cena that is going to induct him. So, AJ Styles, I mean, awesome career. Awesome career. The ultimate wrestler. The ultimate wrestler. Wrestled all over the world. And he was the main guy everywhere he went at some point. Awesome career. And apparently, after Raw went off air, everybody made their way. I mean, his family made their way into the ring. And then from the footage that I've seen, after Raw went off air, the WWE superstars went down to the ring and basically just shook his hand, gave him the hugs and the kisses, and yeah, what a great career. So I was thinking that maybe he would go to TNA and he still might. I'm not. It's still probably somewhere there, maybe. But I honestly, I think his final match should be in TNA. But then again, do you just have him just have a match with no storyline? I was thinking, you know what? He'll go ahead, finish the rest of the year in TNA. And that way you could build some sort of storylines. He doesn't have to be there full time. He's AJ Styles. He can be what Roman Reigns is to the WWE, what Brock Lesnar is to the WWE. Styles can be that for TNA for the rest of this year. So he doesn't have to be there all the time. As he was saying that, hey, he's done everything except be a full-time husband and full-time father. So he doesn't have to be at TNA all the time. Just be there enough to build some sort of storyline. And then have his final match at the end of the year. As AJ Styles has said, if you guys haven't seen it, he said that WrestleMania has lost. It's lacking a little bit of its luster. And it's true, especially this year. Especially this year. It does not feel like WrestleMania season. It does not feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania. And with Bronson Reed down and Elimination Chamber, you guys, the WWE, they go ahead and they put the PLEs behind another paywall. Yeah, man, it's just really not there, and ticket sales going down, and not allowing Southern Nevada to hold any WrestleMania watch parties. Yeah, I agree with AJ. It just doesn't feel like it's WrestleMania season. It doesn't feel like we're on the road to WrestleMania. I keep trying to hype myself up for it, and I just can't get there. Hopefully, Elimination Chamber turns all that around, and we will get to the chamber match, and the predictions for Elimination Chamber this Saturday. But with that, I'll go ahead and leave you guys there, junkies, and yeah, I'll see you guys Saturday as we predict what's gonna happen at the chamber, and hopefully, that can kick off the excitement to WrestleMania. But we shall see.